Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning has just been released and will be the end to a brilliant spy series. But it got me thinking how fun of a video game it would be. Now, there's been 2 Mission Impossible video games in the past. The first one came out before I was born back in 1998 and was released on the Nintendo 64 and PlayStation 1. The game received pretty good reviews at the time, including a score of 6.6 out of 10 from IGN. A year later, the second game came out, which was a more on-the-go version, which was released on the Game Boy Color. However, this one didn't have such positive reviews, only getting a 4 out of 10 on IGN. Anyway, it's been 26 years since the last Mission Impossible video game, and I think it's about time that we got another one. And I know exactly where they could take inspiration from, and that's from another brilliant spy series, James Bond. Now, James Bond has had some class video games over the years, starting out with GoldenEye, a game which the first Mission Impossible video game was heavily compared to. I unfortunately didn't get to play the original one, however I did manage to get my hands on the reimagined 2010 Wii version, and this game was absolutely class. I also got to play the Quantum of Solace video game, which was made using the same video game engine as Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the original one. This game was also insane and was actually the first ever first-person shooter I ever played. Mainly because at the time my mum wouldn't let me get 16+ rated games. However, if you got the movie edition box like I did, it actually said 12 on, so I beat her system. Sorry, ma'am. The next Bond game I played was 007 Legends, which was another class first-person shooter. This game had levels from several iconic Bond films and maps from several iconic Bond movies, as well as characters from, you guessed it, several iconic Bond movies. Now, this Bond game is the game I think the Mission Impossible video game should be based on. We could have a campaign where you play as Ethan and go through several iconic moments from the series. Like, imagine a level where you're fighting a guy on a train while a helicopter is shooting at you. Or imagine a level where you have to get from one side of the Burj Khalifa to the other but on the outside. Or imagine a level where you start out on a motorbike, have to ride into the mountains, then jump off and use a parachute to get on a train. These levels to me sound like hours of fun, but also hours of frustration. Then moving on to the multiplayer side of things, the game needs to be like the Bond games, which were like the Call of Duty games for online multiplayer. There's plenty of great locations from the Mission Impossible films that would make great online multiplayer maps. Like the medical center in the Himalayas, for example. There could even be a twist on this map where the medical equipment messes with the mini-map. Other locations that would make great maps would be the Abu Dhabi airport, the desert where Ethan finds Ilsa, the Kremlin, some sort of a train, the prison, the opera house, the party in Venice, just to name a few. On top of this, the characters you could play as would be so extensive, with each character having a special perk. For example, the White Widow could have Overkill, where she carries 2 primary weapons as she's an arms dealer. Overall, this game could be insane, especially on the current console hardware we have today. There could also be a light version which could just be the multiplayer and could be like COD Mobile, which I've got to say I've been playing so much on my iPad recently. I absolutely love that game. But this lighter version could be released on iOS, Android and the Switch too. However, there may be one problem with my plan, and that is that Tom Cruise will not allow his likeness to be used in any video game. Although I'm sure with a project like this, someone could persuade him that this is going to make him a fortune and then his face needs to be in the game. If not, it'll just have to be like FIFA, where some of the characters don't have their real faces. But what do you think about a Mission Impossible video game? Would you be down for one or not? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments.